But thank you for having me here, and not only to share my personal story, but to speak on behalf of the many whose stories echo mine. As it has been highly publicised and mentioned by Rachel, I was coerced into an abortion through emotional and psychological blackmail by my former NRL playing boyfriend. Just to clarify, I was not the woman who was paid 50 grand. I just want to clarify that. So I found out I was pregnant at 6 weeks, and whilst I knew the timing wasn't ideal, I was actually still excited at the thought of having a baby. Unplanned, but not unwanted. However, moments after sharing the news with him, I was stunned at the heartlessness of his reaction, telling me instantly to abort or I would be facing this pregnancy alone. 2 years ago, and I'm still struggling. Over the next few weeks, I would be subjected to a horrifying amount of domestic abuse and manipulation. I had begged him to talk things through with me and to support me keeping the baby, but I was told things like, "How could you ruin my life like this? And why would you bring a child into this world when it's unwanted by its father? And this child will haunt me." After weeks of enduring this and not knowing what to do, it ultimately led to me booking an abortion. Excuse my sniffing. As I was to eventually find out, domestic violence and abortion are closely linked, and stories such as mine were more common than we would ever think. Since my story went public, I have been contacted by multiple women who aborted due to coercion. One man even telling his partner he would end his own life if she didn't abort. When you are bombarded with that type of abuse, control and manipulation, you become exhausted, scared, rejected, and for me personally, my thought processes were skewed. It's so scary to reflect on how controlled and negatively influenced I was. I am a very strong woman. I am a staunch Māori woman. And even the strongest of us can be weakened. I eventually called an abortion clinic and was able to book an appointment instantly, no questions asked. I had heard that, as Rachel was mentioning, that there is the possibility if the woman is not fit mentally or for other circumstances to have an abortion, that the counsellor would send you away, and interestingly I saw this as my safeguard. So for the lack of a better word, I somewhat looked forward to the session. I thought I would be able to talk things through with her experience and expertise in the field. She would see this was not my decision and turn me away, a voice of reason and clarity for me. How wrong I was. The counselling session lasted minutes and then asked why I wanted abortion, and I replied, because he said it's too early in our relationship. She said, "That's a good reason to have one." And that was it. You see, I was the only one fighting for this baby, and when this so-called expert was so casual about it all, I was defeated. I was deflated, and I even felt like I was being dramatic. As I entered the abortion room and sat on the abortionist table, I was thinking to myself, I wanted to leave, but I was too scared. You know, the day I was there was a woman screaming and crying in the waiting room, and yet even though she was so distressed, I woke up next to her. This is the truth of what goes on in those clinics. This is what's really happening. I was the only woman there that had her partner with her. That's it. We're led to recliners, and I can remember the nurse looking at her watch because she wanted us to leave before the next girls came in. And that's it. I was never told of the psychological risks, only the fact I may become unwell if I didn't take the prescribed antibiotics afterwards. In fact, that was the only thing that was really drilled into me. 2 days after the abortion, when the morning sickness subsided and then sleep was caught up on, the realisation of regret and grief slammed into me like a truck at full speed. It was then I realised there is an incredibly dark side to abortion, and how it is not the best choice so many of us are misinformed into believing it is. The domestic violence the abortion was supposedly freeing me from also continued. As the months went on, I spiralled into depression and severe anxiety and contemplated taking my own life on many occasions. A train, I felt, was the best option, quick and easy. Most days I would go home and close the blinds and sit in darkness, not eating, barely sleeping and looking up train timetables. I felt alone, desperate, pathetic, and so very, very sad. But there was one thing that kept me here. One thing that kept me going, even when I wanted to lie in bed and never wake up again, and it was and it is my daughter. And so with every ounce of my being, I fought with myself to stay here with her. In 2010, I fell pregnant with my daughter. I had a dream job, earning amazing money. I lived in a beach suburb in a great apartment with my friend, and I was back with my boyfriend after separating for a while. Life as I knew it was going so good. Excuse me. Not long after all these things fell into place, I found out I was unexpectedly pregnant. My boss at the time told me to abort or I would be fired. My partner left me, and my flatmate told me to find somewhere else to live. I was 24, now jobless, had to move back in with my parents and found myself on something called Centrelink. Not many people want to hire you when you're 7 months pregnant. Some may say this is a good time to abort. In fact, the majority of people around me did, except for two people, my parents. With the support of Mum and Dad, I was able to bring my beautiful daughter into this world, a single mother, and I'm going to read to you her latest report. Ryder is a cheerful, hardworking and responsible student who has settled in well to the routines and structures of Year 1. She is a sweet, good-hearted and thoughtful member of this class who is always considerate and helpful to her peers. Ryder is always polite and respectful when communicating with other students and teachers in the school. In all aspects of learning, Ryder puts in 100% effort and tackles every challenge with a positive attitude. She is developing a good growth mindset where she doesn't give up even when something is tricky. Ryder always participates in class discussions and listens attentively when others are talking. She is eager to help out around the class and can be trusted to take on important roles in the classroom. Ryder understands and consistently follows our school rules and is an excellent role model to others. She received an award of academic excellence last year, and she is now in an elite dancing school, placing first and second in all of their routines. So in this short time, and with countless things I could say, I leave you with this. I have had an abortion. I have also unfortunately endured a miscarriage, and I am a mother. And choosing life positively changed my life. Ending life almost ended mine. My daughter is a prime example that with the right support, we can raise human beings who better this world. Because it turns out it's my girl who's the role model for others. How did we get to this place where we could open up such a can of worms? We can do better for women, and if we put all of this effort to make today happen and do these bills, imagine what we could do if we focus that energy into supporting women. Thank you.